What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to A Different Perspective. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button for your boy. So we're about to look at some court documents that depicts a mother teaching her 17-year-old daughter how to seduce R.Kelly to get close enough to him to maybe potentially have a child by him. Crazy, y'all. This stuff is crazy, but we're about to check it out. Y'all ready? I'm ready. So it reads, the mother says, you should text him and be like, you know you're gonna be my boo, and see what he say. To which Jane, the daughter, responds, LMAO. Jane, the daughter, traveled to meet the defendant, R.Kelly, in Stockton, California, where he was performing on May 1st, 2015. She stayed in contact with her mother the entire time. At one point, Jane explained to her mother how she ended up in Stockton to see the defendant performance. I told you. He asked me, did I want to come to the show? I said, of course. And he said, okay, then let's pack this stuff up. He was even putting his stuff in my bag. Jane and her mother remained in constant communication before the defendant's show. Jane's mother instructed her about what to wear and made suggestions about how she should behave at the defendant's show. Y'all, this is crazy. The mother proceeded to tell the girl, I would blow him little kisses and wink at him and bite the tip of your finger, mess with him real good. Do something seductive, then make a little silly face, LOL. Jane and her mother continued to text throughout the defendant's performance. At one point, Jane and her mother exchanged the following text messages. Let's hear what this says. Jane, he's singing this whole show to me. Mom, LOL, too funny. Jane's like, for real, LMAO. Jane then says, this man in love. The mom responds, oh my God, you're gonna marry him and have his babies. Girl is 17 years old. R. Kelly was how old at this time? This is crazy. The mom says, LOL, my son-in-law gonna be older than me. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that R. Kelly is older than the mother of this child? It don't get much worse. This is what? Y'all, this ain't over. There's more. Mom says, too dang funny. That is not funny. It's funny, but not in the good way like she's making it seem to be. Mom continues, well, you better get signed first, then married second. Mom continues, he's gonna seduce you tonight. What is the mom implying when she says that he's going to make advances, sexual advances towards this child? And the mom is okay with this. Let's finish. Jane says, LOL. Mom says, you have to give him a massage before you go to bed. You know what she mean by that, right? Let's make that assumption. I always say it ain't good to assume, but let's make that assumption. And Jane's like, LMAO, no, I doubt it. And this is what the mom says. Girl, you better or he will get someone else too. They're not talking about no massage. They can't possibly be talking about, or he'll get somebody else too. Come on now. Jane mother continues to encourage her to seduce the defendant. At one point, Jane told her mother that she caught feelings for the defendant. Ooh. According to Jane, she and the defendant had sexual intercourse for the first time after the concert. Told you. Was I right or was I right? The mother was encouraging her to sleep with R. Kelly that night. It's crazy. At no point during her travels with the defendant in California in April and May of 2015 did Jane disclose that she was 17 years of age or that she had lied to him about her age. After the trip to California, Jane traveled to meet the defendant in Las Vegas where he was performing. No rational juror can conclude that the defendant enticed, persuaded, induced, or coerced Jane to travel to California. Jane's contemporaneous conversations with her mother show that the defendant invited Jane to join him and she excitedly accepted. When her mother asked her when he asked her to travel, Jane told her mother, whenever I tell him I can. tomorrow if I choose. By her own admission, Jane chose to travel with the defendant because she wanted to. Now, this part right here kind of confuses me a bit. It says, while this court concluded that Jane's parents' testimony was not relevant for the proposed defense, counsel sought to introduce it. Jane's text message with her mother introduced this government. Like I said, that last part kind of confused me a bit, but I'm sure you and I are on the same page when it comes to the thought that this is not something that we're surprised to see. How many times did we think or believe that some of these women, some of these parents, were putting their child in this type of predicament with R.Kelly? If not that, then when they realized what was happening, they were allowing R.Kelly to maybe pay them off to kind of keep them at bay or to keep them quiet. I remember there was a story a couple of years back of this woman that took her, I think then 18, maybe 19-year-old daughter to an R.Kelly concert to meet R.Kelly, to maybe get 15 minutes of fame, maybe potentially get a baby by this man, kind of like how this situation is here, so that she can have a constant bag coming in for the next 18 years of her life, whatever the case may be. But it nonetheless is sickening to see that a woman would put her child in a position to be subjected to the treatment that is this man, right? But you also got to think about the mindsets of the women that will allow their child to be subjected to something like this. It's a strong possibility that her herself, when she was young, was dealing with men that were much older. So she's almost looking at this like it's okay. You see the text message, she said, oh, my son-in-law gonna be older than me. What? And she laughs about that like that's perfectly acceptable. It just reminds me of earlier today, I was revisiting like the story of the past of Drew Barrymore, like how when she was 9 years old, she was in the clubs partying and drinking, trying to seduce men because she wanted to be this you know what type of figure. So she wanted men looking at her, dancing with her and all this type of stuff at 9 years old. And then by the age of 11, having her first boyfriend who was much older than her. By the age of 14, going the legal route of her parents, her mom and dad no longer having that guardianship over her so that she can kind of be on her own to do her own thing, and how her mom was okay with it and thinking that that was best. It's like she was not protected by her parents in the way that she should have been. So trying to figure out where these people are in their head will bring you to a conclusion of realizing how acceptable that they think this type of stuff is. But I don't know, you guys. Leave your thoughts, comments, and opinions down below, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. See ya.